Hi, I'm Michelle Burney, and I am the creator of Radiance Within Coaching. And this topic of discussion is transforming resolutions into healthy habits. And it's one of my special January talks, kicking off the new year. January is a time to reset, and often resolutions are part of that picture. But the goal here is to really take those resolutions and turning them into long term habits, long term change. I am a certified health and life coach through Health Coach Institute. I am also a science teacher, a middle school science teacher, a wife, and mother of four. Resolutions actually date back thousands of years to ancient Babylonians. And at that time, they were religious promises, promises that people made to the gods that they would improve their behavior or, that sort of thing, um, really for fear of punishment from the gods. And, they've been around since then, and I don't think they're really going away. Thankfully, resolutions now are secular. Um, but I think it's really important that don't just feel you should set a resolution just because it's January. Um, I had someone in an elevator on New Year's Eve, ask, "You have a resolution all set?" You don't set a resolution just because, but really think about your why. Think about what really needs improvement in your life, and this can come at any point. January 1st, January 22nd. July 13th. At any point when you feel like something needs to change, we want to turn it into long-term change because, most resolutions are kind of forgotten the first couple weeks after. So, any resolution related to health is so worth it. Anything you can do to improve your health is something you should really strive for. Like I said, any time of the year. Um, and balancing blood sugar and your blood sugar levels and reducing that blood sugar roller coaster is so important for good health, because so much stress is put on your body when you're in this blood sugar roller coaster where your levels spike and then they drop. It leads to insulin resistance, inflammation, and inflammation can lead to all sorts of diseases, even heart disease and Alzheimer's. Um, but balancing your blood sugar is really important, and this is a list of things that can help to do that. And any of these would be definitely worthwhile resolutions, worthwhile healthy changes in your world. Drinking more water, eating more protein. What protein does is that it takes you longer to digest proteins, which then in case any carbs you do eat with that protein are also digested a little slower, so that if you do have, simple carbs with that protein, you're not like as likely to see such a spike in your blood sugar levels and then that big drop thereafter. Healthy fats are so important in our lives. Avoiding those chemicals, looking at food labels, trying to eat as whole of foods as you can. And when you see a list of ingredients where you can't understand most of that, probably not a good thing to be consuming regularly. Meal timing is something, like giving up eating after 7 p.m. is probably a good thing, and there's actually science behind it. Your metabolism is most revved up actually in the middle of the day. It's not really meant to help us digest and process big meals in the evening. And if you're snacking, before bed, probably not a good idea. So definitely worth something giving up. Getting enough sleep, going to bed earlier, shutting off the TV, shutting off, the phone, the electronics, all definitely a worthwhile resolution. And increasing that exercise, always a good thing. Get more motion. Your body needs it. Your muscles need it. It's good for your mental health. So these are all definitely worthwhile resolutions. But instead of calling them resolutions, because that usually we think of like January, but think of goals. And people are more likely to stick with goals if they're SMART goals, meaning specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. So instead of having a goal of, oh, I want to drink more water, can you apply an actual measurable and achievable, like number value to that? They say, half your body weight in water is a good goal. So maybe your goal is to have, 75 ounces of water a day. Relevant. timely, it's relevant, it's going to be important, and it might stop you from eating, might stop you from craving food or feeling as hungry. And one thing I think you'll see is that as you set these goals is that success is like a snowball, that once you get going, then you feel like you can take on even more. So once you maybe start with a small goal of I'm going to drink 50 ounces of water, and I'm going to have 3 water bottles filled in a day, whatever it may be. When you show yourself that you can do it, then you may be more likely to set a bigger goal, and it just kind of gets you going in the right direction. So in a private coaching session, I really try to dig deep with clients into their why. And this would be a sequence that I would do with someone, and here just something to think about. But, what are you really wanting, for your resolutions or your goals? Thinking about that. What are you really wanting? And you can think about making that a SMART goal, something measurable. I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week. I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to not eat past 8 o'clock at night, some of those kind of things. What will accomplishing that do for you? The why is so important. Why is this important to you? Is so important in keeping you motivated. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this to you? If it's something that your spouse wants you to do because they're nagging you, it's probably not something that you're going to stick with. But if you can really find the reason why, okay, if I drink more water, then maybe I won't be as hungry throughout the day. And then if I'm not as hungry throughout the day, then maybe I won't reach for bad snacks. And if I don't reach for bad snacks, then maybe I'll start to lose weight. Really digging deeper and asking those questions of why. Why is this important to you? Will help you attach to that reason, that motivation of why you're going to be more likely to stick with it. Losing weight. Are you going on that vacation for your anniversary this summer and you want to, look good in a dress or a bikini or your bathing suit or, that kind of thing. So really tapping into your why and thinking about others. Who else may be affected if you accomplish this? If you lose weight, are you going to be able to better keep up with your kids? Will, being able to wear a bathing suit again or taking your shirt off at the pool for guys, like, will that help your relationship with your spouse? Who else may be affected if you accomplish these goals? And then most importantly, like, how might you feel? Because that sense of pride that comes with goals is something that you need to build on. And then that's what makes you want to move forward and try something else. Like, okay, I did that, accomplished. Like, what else can I do? And I think you'll find that snowball effect, that once you start and you start taking steps in the right direction, then you just keep moving forward with, okay, I want to try this now, and I can try this now, and I feel good enough to do this. And what we're going to talk about is having an outer and inner game toward achieving these goals. I'm going to call them goals, not resolutions anymore. That there's this part on the outside that people see, and it's definitely more manageable. It's definitely more easily approached. But there's also an inner game in terms of reaching goals. And that's the part below the surface. And that's the part that's a little harder to tap into. But in terms of our outer game, in reaching, these health goals, one really important player in the outer game is clutter. If you can declutter your space, it creates room for new energy to come in. So whether that space be your kitchen, your cupboards, it could be your room, your house, the basement, a closet. Kitchen is very important if you have food related goals. Just getting rid of things that will tempt you, moving things. I've seen people put little signs or messages like, you don't need this, you'll close the door. Like, just not allowing that stuff to be there is really helpful. Like, getting it out of the way. Like I said, your closets, your rooms, it's a good time to kind of reset and get rid of some of that old energy, things that aren't serving you, things that aren't useful. Get rid of all that to allow new energy in. Decluttering your time and your schedule. Is there anything you can get rid of? Something that you can try to, a place where you can try to create more time for you, so that if you do want to exercise, you do want to, we'll talk about like food prep and things like that. Where will you find that time? Decluttering social media, decluttering, people you follow, organizations you follow. When there's a negative energy that's brought in with, certain people and their posts, or a certain organization, or, can you get rid of that? It's probably a good idea. And even people in your world. Some people may not be so supportive of your journey, a journey toward health, a journey toward losing weight, whatever your journey is. There may be people around you that aren't so supportive. They don't understand. They think you'll change. They think you'll be, different, and they may sabotage your journey. Are there any people, and that may go along with social media as well, that you need to kind of declutter from your world so that you can have success moving forward? Also, in the outer game is preparation, setting yourself up for success. If you were going to start going to a gym, do you need workout clothes? If you're going to work out of your house, do you need to get some weights? Do you need any bands, any equipment? Um, Grocery shopping, like what foods do you need? Make a list. I often will use like Instacart, and I'm not ashamed to say it. It keeps me focused on what I need. I'm not buying all that extras. It saves me time in my week. How can you set yourself up for success? I do also use a weekly calendar, and I find it very helpful in really laying things out, like workouts. I plan them into my day, running errands, morning time. We'll talk about some morning routine things. When my son's games are, there is more time than you may think you have, but I will write things in, even you don't see it there, but like, Thursday, I have some free time. Thursday evening, I'm going to clean the bathroom. And what this does by writing it out is that it helps me not be so anxious through the week. Like every time I walk into the bathroom, I'm like, oh my God, this is filthy. It needs to be cleaned. And you feel that level of anxiety about it. When like, nope, it's going to be taken care of Thursday. Okay, I'm good. And, writing things out helps to take some pressure off your brain. I've heard this before. I've read this, that, your brain will, if you're trying to fall asleep or something, will be thinking of all the things you need to do. And by writing it out, it relieves your brain of trying to remember all of these things. So writing it out can help with, anxiety, can help with sleep. Is having things written out, it helps to declutter your brain in a way. And it helps you to have a map, and it feels rewarding to cross things out. And, if you didn't get to something, then you draw an arrow and do it the next day, or, so I think that it really is important in preparation, and clearing your time, is to have a calendar. And I mentioned the grocery shopping, but food planning and food prep. If you have, food related goals, weight related goals, I can't stress the importance of being prepared, of buying the right things, of filling your cupboards with the right things, your refrigerator with the right things, but also taking time to prepare. Because I know personally that I get into my biggest trouble with food is when I'm not prepared, when I don't have anything made, or I didn't eat enough, I didn't pack enough, for my lunch at work, and I'm starving on the way home, or I'm starving as soon as I walk in the door, and then I'm more likely to reach for something that I shouldn't be reaching for. So being prepared, it is so important to keeping on track with your goals. One other thing is a morning ritual. Um, is to just give yourself time to set your intentions for that day, to give yourself time to do what brings you some peace, some tranquility before the craziness of the day. It's never great to hop out of bed, jump in the shower, run to the kitchen, get up the kid, wake the kids up, run, drive them to school, all that. It's always good to start. And, a lot of really powerful people really stress the need for this morning ritual. And whatever brings you peace. A lot of people mention meditating in the morning. It could be reading. If that's your quiet time and you enjoy reading, it could be to stretch or to breathe or to set your calendar, to set your intention without social media, without your phone. It's never a good idea to start your day by grabbing your phone and looking what's on social media. It's important to start with a positive frame, to start your day with even gratitude, to have like a tradition of gratitude, a ritual, I should say, of, starting with gratitude for the day ahead of me, or even gratitude for what yesterday brought, and, intentions for moving forward today. Always a good thing to just set your day. Now we're going to get into the deeper part of this, your inner game, that bottom part, the part of that iceberg you can't see. All of these other things that we just talked about, the outer game, are on the outside, kind of environmental, getting things set, getting things organized. But the bigger work and the bigger results can come when you can tap into your inner game. And I'm going to make an analogy to your comfort zone. We all have a certain comfort zone. And maybe our comfort zone is, 68 Fahrenheit. And all too often, we could go down to 67, 66, 65. And we don't act on that until we hit a place, maybe it's 63 degrees. We all have a different place where we actually get uncomfortable. And when we reach that uncomfortableness is when we actually decide to change. But too often we kind of let ourselves start to slide, but it's still within our comfort zone. On the flip side of that, sometimes when we're succeeding, we're, doing well, we're on a roll, we have momentum, building momentum, our temperature starts to rise. And we're above that 68 degrees. Now we're at 69, 70, 71. And sometimes we recognize that too. And like, oh, hold on here. We like 68, come back down. And that's where you can see self-sabotage, with goals. Like once you start achieving and you're feeling good, so often we are our own worst enemy and we sabotage ourselves. And that's to bring us back to this comfort zone. But I challenge you to live outside of your comfort zone and to dig into your comfort zone and to extend your comfort zone. So you can think about your inner game, your insides, your mind. We have a certain operating system. And all too often, the programming for this operating system was created a long time ago and by others, even back to our childhood, that we were brought up a certain way. Our parents did the best they could most of the time, but we were brought up a certain way. And oftentimes we're still living with that maybe outdated system of beliefs. And those beliefs drive our behaviors. And one of the first steps to maybe changing this operating system is to accept where you're at without any judgment. If you let yourself go, if you've gained weight, if you are not as healthy as you'd hope to be, accept that without judgment. You cannot be hard on yourself. You can't punish yourself. You can't feel guilty. You need to forgive yourself. In forgiving yourself, you can move forward. Forgive yourself for doing the best you could at the time with the knowledge you had. And that's so important in order to allow yourself to move forward, is to forgive yourself for where you're at. To acknowledge any limiting beliefs you have and let them go. Any of those doubts, any of those I'm not worthy, any of those, oh, I shouldn't have done this for so many years, or I should have done this. I don't know why I didn't ever do this. I'm so lazy. Like, you need to acknowledge those, like let those beliefs in, but then let them go. All those emotions, it's important to just, acknowledge that they're there and then let them go, especially when they're not serving you. And allow yourself, give yourself permission to become a healthier version of you. And this is where others may have a hard time accepting that. They're scared of a different version of you. But a healthier version of you is always a better version of you. And you deserve that. You deserve to be healthier and to be more energized and to feel better. And also acknowledge progress over perfection. We're human. We will mess up. We will skip exercise. We will eat things that we don't think we should. It's okay. Again, back to forgiving yourself. Forgive yourself. Move forward. It's all about that progress. None of us can live a perfect life. It's progress. And making those conscious decisions consistently for what's best for you. Now, when it comes to level of change, there's kind of three different levels of change. Our outcomes are what we desire. For example, weight loss. Our processes are like how we can go about getting there. And that's a lot of what I talked about with the outer game. What are some different strategies? Is it drinking more water? Is it eating more protein? Is it, your meal timing? Is it exercising? All of those things. Those are the processes. But probably at the center of this all, and like we said, this is kind of the inner game, the inner circle, has to do with your identity. And this is probably the most influential part of achieving those outcomes of change and following through with those processes that you have set in place. Because identity really, it drives our beliefs, which then drive our behaviors. So if you identify as being a busy mom, you might believe you don't have time for yourself. You don't have time to exercise. That, as a busy mom, my time is for my kids, that I'm giving to them. And that, like I said, will drive your beliefs. No, I don't have time, which then drives your behaviors. Even if you set a certain resolution to exercise, to food prep, and prepare healthier foods for lunches or whatever it may be, if you're identifying as a busy mom, you may not make the time to follow through with that. If, for example, you identify with being not athletic, you may not want to ever join a gym. You may be intimidated by using weights. You may be intimidated by taking a Zumba or yoga class, thinking I'm not coordinated. I can't do that. And again, that drives your behaviors. So your beliefs drive your behaviors. You never do find maybe a physical activity that is healthy for you because you're intimidated, thinking you're not athletic. Here in Buffalo, many people identify with being Bill's Mafia. And if you're part of Bill's Mafia, one of the beliefs may be on game day, you party, you jump through tables, right? You drink beer. And maybe it's a resolution that, you're not drinking during the week, or you don't want to drink on a Monday night game, or you don't want to drink on a Sunday. You drink Saturday night, that was your night. But so often our identity drives our behaviors. Well, I'm part of Bill's Mafia. It's game day. I need to eat pizza and wings and drink beer. And I also came across this on Facebook in January, right after the new year. New year, new me, and then me on game day. And that kind of shows that identity. If you identify a certain way, you let that identity drive your behaviors, even if it may not be healthy behaviors. So how do we overcome this? How do we overcome this identity? Well, here's a question sequence again. And again, if we were in a one-on-one coaching session, would allow you to answer and would keep questioning to dig deeper. But think about what you really want, your resolution, your goals. Do you know someone who's already doing this and is successful at this? So think about someone who maybe is fit, or who goes to the gym, or who eats well, or who packs their lunch, always has healthy food at lunch. Think about someone who's already doing whatever your goal is. And then what are they like? What do you think they do each day? More importantly, what do you think they believe about themselves? What do you think is their mindset? What do they believe? And then building on that, what must you believe about yourself in order to accomplish this goal? Who must you become in order to see this through? And here are just some words. Do I need to become more determined, more persistent? Do I need to become a strong mother, not just a busy mother? Do I need to be more ambitious or stick to it? And when you start to focus on your identity and your beliefs, that's when you can see the biggest change. So focus on your beliefs and how you see yourself, and not just the outcomes. We tend to be focused on the outcomes. We want to lose weight. We want to get healthier. We want to be more fit. And we're willing to look at the process. Okay, what can I do? What should I do? But you will not follow through with that if your identity is not also in line. And this is something you can build upon also, taking those little steps to build that identity as a strong woman, as a healthy person. Identify you're not just the fat guy. Now you're the healthy guy. Now you're the guy who's making changes in his life. Because really the big key of this all is that healthy isn't something that you do. It's not just those processes. It becomes who you are. And once you identify as a healthy person, you will automatically make those choices. Most of the time, again, we're human and there's not perfection in our journey to health. But most of the time you are going to, make those choices that discipline will build. And you will, I can attest to this, you will want to go to the gym. You will want to go, 5 days a week or whatever it may be. It won't be a hassle anymore because it is something, it's part of you. It's part of who you are. It's part of your routine. It's part of who you become. If there's any way I can support you in making, these healthy choices, more long-term change in your world, you can reach me at radiancewithincoaching@gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook at Radiance Within Coaching, and at Michelle Burney is my personal Facebook. I'm working on my website. I will get that up and share it on YouTube when I can. But any little progress towards becoming healthier is so important, and I encourage you to take those steps to become a healthier version of you for yourself, for those who love you. It's an important step.